Hey everyone, and Zhao here. I found this interesting article about the Russo brothers. So, for anyone who doesn't know, the Russo brothers have directed a lot of the Marvel Comics movies, Captain America Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity Wars 1 and 2. They sort of took over where Josh Whedon left off, and for the most part, did a great job. Here we have a fascinating article. Russo brothers reveal their most played Dungeons and Dragons adventure. So this article goes on to say they had an AMA on Reddit, and when they were taking vacation after directing Captain America Winter Soldier and the last two movies back to back, what do they do to relax? And they say, when we want to kick back and relax, we replay the Lost Mines of Phandelver. I can never pronounce that right. The campaign over and over again. And I just thought, wow, that's kind of strange. Now, MOP, Mines of Phandelver, or LMOP, depending on how fanatical you are, it's probably the number one entry campaign for new players. It's at Adventure League stuff all the time. It's in the Dungeons and Dragons starter kit, and it's pretty okay overall. It's for levels 4 to 6, 4 to 6 players starting from level 1. It gets you used to how to play the character, a little bit of world and lore, and how you're gonna interact with people and everything. So it's pretty nice, but my question is, why would you want to replay it? I mean, it's not bad, but it's one of those things where once you sort of do it once, it doesn't have a lot of replay. So in this video, I will give my top 5 list of replayability for D&D games. Number 5, Storm King's Thunder. Before we get into it, I'd just like to point out D&D Beyond. Why the heck don't you show me the actual cover of the book instead of popping up this one? Cool pick. I want to see the book. But at any rate, Storm King's Thunder. It is a great adventure starting from level 5 going up to level 10. It's got a lot of different areas. Show a little flow chart here. And it's nice. It's divided up into chapters. So it is somewhat of a predetermined story, although it's got a lot of great variability. So they do have chapter 1, which would be levels 1 to 4. Although a lot of people like to skip that. They like to sort of get into it when their characters are a little more powered up. No problem. Chapter 2, Rumblings, set for level 5. Then as you can see, the flow chart, Delta Frontier, the Frozen Path. A lot of stuff happens at level 8. Level 8, you get a lot of your characters really deeper into the powers. So it's much easier to play them how you'd like to play them. So the main premise is you're on the Sword Coast. There are giants. There's a dragon that disguises herself as a giant. Lots of variability, lots of different factions that you could ally with or fight against. This is a great book, highly recommended. The 4th most replayable D&D adventure pack is Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Now, it's Dungeons and Dragons, so you gotta have dragons, right? But we're gonna have beholders. The dragons in this case we're talking about are the currency, the gold coin in Waterdeep. They're called dragons. And there are 500,000 of them somewhere in Waterdeep. The really nice thing I like about this is the city of Waterdeep. Now, Greyhawk used to be the biggest, most well-developed city. Now it is probably Waterdeep. There are factions upon factions. There are enemies upon enemies. One thing I really love about the replayability of this adventure set is that you start by having the DM pick your enemy. So it sounds a little strange, but this allows you to replay it as your the enemy is sort of who you're going up against, whatnot. We have the classic Xanathar, paranoid, megalomaniac beholder, and his goal is to wipe out anyone he perceives as a threat. The next we have the Castellanters. They are nobles, but secretly devil worshippers. They want to use the cachet of dragons to buy back the souls of their children, which they traded to Asmodeus for power. That's hardcore. You are hardcore when you trade your children's souls. The next villain you could pick is Jarlaxle Benre, Drow swashbuckler and secret lord of Luskin, the city of Sails. Jarlaxle, he wants to use the cachet of dragon to buy his way into the Lord's Alliance, confederation of cities and towns that band together against common threats. He also wants Dragonstaff, which is cool. Manchun, a clone of the wizard Manchun, one of the founders of the Zentarum, is hiding in Waterdeep. He wants to rule the city by claiming the cachet of dragons and using the wealth to bribe the masked lords who rule Waterdeep into making him the new open lord. He also wants to regain control of the Black Network. So the Zentarum are a group of mercenaries and black market dealers, that kind of stuff. So Manchun creates copies of himself using the Simulacrum spell and takes great pains to conceal his identity, since his success hinges on not attracting the attention of others. This is great. Right there, who you're basically up against is going to change every time. The seasons, what season you start in depends on what villain you pick. So let's take a look at... They have a nice flow chart for this as well, if I can find it. Here we go. So chapters 1 to 4 basically follow along with levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, you should be level 5, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can do all at level 5, or of course higher if you get there. You run into a rogues gallery of other D&D favorites. Volo is there. The Onic Portal is there. So, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, big plus. The number 3 most replayable adventure pack for D&D 5e is Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Now, why did I pick this one? Because in most of the other adventure packs, you're starting out with a character at level 1, and it's probably going to max out somewhere around level 10. Well, not this one, baby. You start at level 5, and it goes all the way up to about 15 or more. So, this is a story. There is a Mad Mage, and he controls the deepest mine, the Undermountain. It's the deepest one in Forgotten Realms, and to do this, you've got to go through various levels of this of the mine, of the dungeon, and you got to clear it out level by level. So there are different factions who have different things that are in there. You can see there are about 23 different levels, or 23 different settings, or whatnot. Basically, levels to the Undermountain. But character level, you start at level 5. If you can make it to the Mad Wizard's Lair, you will be somewhere between level 17 and 20. that's pretty cool. There aren't many adventures written for this level. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's nice, it's fun, but it's one of those few adventures that are specifically written for people who really want to go nuts with their characters, who really want that higher level of play. So for that, Mad Mage, you are number 3. The number 2 most replayable adventure pack in D&D is one of the OGs, Curse of Strahd. Now there were adventure packs before Curse of Strahd, but they were just random encounters, random dungeons, so you didn't have to think of it yourself. The first one with a real storyline was Curse of Strahd, written by probably a almost prepubescent Chris Perkins. This is classic. Now it's also one of the most replayable because much like Monopoly is a game that you make a lot of enemies, all your friends hate you after playing for a few hours, Curse of Strahd will be the same thing. It's a level 1 to 10 adventure pack, 4 to 6 players, and you will probably all hate each other because Curse of Strahd is one of those few D&D adventure packs that gives you a lot of latitude in allowing players to screw over other players. In fact, not only is it allowed, it's pretty much encouraged. Strahd will try to convince different players to join him, and hey, that happens a lot. So it's replayable because you will probably never play this again with the same group of people. Your party finds itself in Barovia, a mysterious realm with a deadly fog ruled by Strahd von Zarovich, a vampire and a wizard, because vampire's not enough. So Madame Ava, read your fortune, she sends you on a bunch of quests. Barovia is a land filled with ghosts, werewolves, and other fell creatures. The wilderness hides many secrets, including forgotten ruins and battlefields that tell the story of Strahd's life as a conqueror. Adventurers who explore the wilderness find the remnants of Strahd's ancient enemies. Not all of them as dead as one would expect. So basically you're going through a Transylvania-like place, killing undead and werewolves and sort of romance period classic monsters. The number 1 most replayable adventure pack in D&D is the Tomb of Annihilation. Tomb of Annihilation is the meat grinder of D&D. So a lot of people like to complain that D&D, especially 5e, it's too easy for people to come back from the dead, to just resurrect characters left and right. That death almost has no meaning. Well, guess what, buddy? In this adventure pack, there is no resurrection. You will go through characters like you wouldn't believe. The basic premise is that there's a lich. Of course it's a lich. And this lich has some item or some spell or whatnot, nobody knows, that has taken away the ability throughout the world to resurrect people. No resurrection magics work. So the story starts with Sindra Sylvain. She's a retired adventurer and merchant, and she was raised from the dead before. Now she's withering away, and her only chance of surviving is to get this thing, which nobody knows, only known as the Soulmonger, which is trapping souls. She wants it killed or removed or whatnot. The only thing they know is it is in the land of Chult. So Chult is sort of an African-esque continent. It's a lot of jungle, a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, a bit of river travel. If you ever read romance period books traveling down the Nile for adventure, you'll love Chult. One of the other great things about Chult is dinosaurs. How cool is that? You could own a dinosaur, you could kill dinosaurs, you can eat dinosaurs. This adventure is amazing because it's got a lot of different areas. Now, technically, the location of the Soulmonger is fixed, but if you're replaying it, you could just put it in another spot, or you could slightly change it. You could change it so that there is an object. There are subplots about storm giants chasing people. There is supposedly a dragon involved. You have all these undead you gotta wade through, and probably 8 to 10 factions that you may have to contend with. Tomb of Annihilation is excellent fun for everyone. Something that I don't know if I give it to a first-time player, but definitely once somebody has the hang of it, and as long as they're cool with rolling lots and lots of characters, this is perhaps the greatest replayable adventure pack in all of D&D. Well, thanks for coming in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think? Are these your top 5 replayable adventures, or are you like the Russo brothers and you prefer LMOP? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you like these kind of videos, let me know. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I'll see you guys.